Hey everybody, it's Brian here. I hope you're all doing great. So today's episode is going to be a little bit more condensed, a little bit more intimate. Over the past few days, I have been getting a number of comments from followers both on YouTube and on Instagram. There's just a sense of disgruntlement, there's just a sense of wanting to give up and being sort of demotivated at the fact that people are not making as many sales as they would hope to have been making, since they've started into the print on demand, selling on Redbubble, 𝗍𝗗𝗄𝗃, Etsy, Amazon, what have you. And I thought that I would actually take this episode to address these concerns, because for many of us, myself included, when we got into the print on demand business model, probably is because we saw a video on YouTube or on Facebook or any form of social media about how great and how easy it is to make tons of sales in the print-on-demand world, and obviously make loads of cash, loads of money as a side hustle, that you'll be able to retire and buy $1 million property and have a fast car and whatnot. And then obviously the sad truth of it is that it's not always the case. And unfortunately, a lot of people go into this particular business model thinking that that's going to be the case. And when it doesn't happen, when they find out that, hey, you need to put some effort, you need to dedicate time, just like with any other business, then it becomes a bit of a problem. And, the levels of disgruntlement and demotivation start to come in. So I thought today I would address these concerns, and hopefully by the end of this video, those of you who are feeling this, might find some kind of motivation, some kind of inspiration to actually do what needs to be done in order to take that step forward, to stay on the path of success, and hopefully actually reach that degree of success. So I'm going to be covering 3 points today, and I've got my notes here behind my camera over here, which you'll see me referring to, because I really want to make sure that I don't miss anything, because all 3 of these are so fundamentally important that I want to make sure that I do them justice, so that you are going to be getting the full maximum from this particular video. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be in a better position both physically and mentally in order to continue, especially now that we have entered the 4th quarter at the time of publishing this video, which, as many of you know, is the time when, in truth, the most sales, if any, are going to be made during this particular time. You've got Halloween, Thanksgiving, we had Labor Day, you've got Christmas, which is the biggest time of the year for sales. And hopefully, if you haven't been making any sales or haven't been seeing as many sales as you hoped you were going to see, this video in conjunction with this time of the year hopefully will change that. And if you are watching this video in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd quarter, well, you can utilize the information in this video to take you in the direction towards a better positive mindset for your shop, so that when the next 4th quarter comes around, you'll be in a better position, both mentally, physically, and obviously, hopefully, with your shop in terms of the way that it's set up, to reach a certain degree of success in the 4th quarter, be it in 2023, 2024, or otherwise. So, look, point number 1 is that, as I stated a short while ago, a lot of people get into the print-on-demand business because obviously they would have heard that you can make a lot of money, you can reach a lot of degree of success with very little effort. And, when you take a look at, the print-on-demand industry, as a business model, it isn't something which is very difficult to get into. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit. The barrier of entry is relatively easy. All you need is a good graphic design program that you can use like Canva, or if you have Photoshop or Illustrator or whatnot. You have to have a certain sense of, what it is that you want to design vis-a-vis in terms of graphic design. And then obviously you just choose a platform, 2 or 3, or however many you want to choose, and actually sign up and get into it. So you've got platforms like Redbubble and 𝗍𝗗𝗄𝗃, Spreadshirt, 𝗧cie_cie_𝗹𝘀, just to name a few. And then you've got Etsy, you've got Amazon. So in truth, there's just a ton of platforms out there that you could actually sign up for, free to sign up with. There are some platforms where you do have to pay a monthly fee. Like, for example, if you're opening up a Shopify store, there is a monthly fee that you have to obviously pay for that. So if it's something, if it's a route that you want to go through, you can. But for the most part, many of you go, the route of the free ones. For example, like Redbubble, 𝗲𝗵𝗺, Spreadshirt, 𝗧cie_6. Okay, you do have to apply for Amazon. Some will get in, some won't. It's not that easy, or it's not as easy as it used to be to get into it. But if you do get into it, the same truth of the matter still holds true with respect to Amazon, because we are effectively all small minnows in a very huge sea of graphic designers out there who are all trying to do the same thing that we are effectively trying to do, and that's trying to make more sales, hopefully in our side hustles, to be able to either A, supplement our current income, or B, trying to get out of the 9-to-5 job and actually utilizing this business concept to basically fund and pay the bills and put money on the table. Now, what's important with respect to the print-on-demand industry is that you don't go into this industry with a lot of fluff in your head, okay? You'll be wasting a lot of your time, and you'll reach a very limited success, if anything, and this can all be very, very demotivating. Many people just go in and, they tackle and take a look at some of these particular print-on-demand websites, check on the best sellers, see what's being listed, and say, oh yeah, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that, I can emulate this. And you see a lot of YouTube videos out there showing you how to go about creating designs, and you say, oh, that's a piece of cake, I can do that. You sit down in front of your computer, and you do try to put things down. But when you go to upload them, these are just designs that are not standing out. Okay, or else you're creating, designs for so many different niches that your shop is basically all over the place. Now, for those of you who have been following my channel, know that even myself, I have a generalist store. It's not a niche related store, and that's actually okay. You can go on either route. But if you're going to take the generalist store, you want to make sure that you are consolidating the designs that you're creating for the niches that you're including in your generalist store, so that you're giving some meat and potatoes for the customers to actually delve into when they visit your shop. If you're creating maybe 2 or 3 designs about pasta, 2 or 3 designs about dogs, about cats, about tools, about this, about that, about this, and about that, well, when a customer comes to visit your shop, there isn't anything vis-a-vis consistency with respect to your shop, and that could actually be a catalyst for making people want to jump ship and visit another shop. Okay, irrespective of how good your designs are. So you want to make sure that whatever shop you are creating, whatever designs you are actually contributing to, there needs to be, again, I'm going to repeat this, some meat on the bones for people to chew on when they visit your shop. It isn't a question of just creating 1 or 2 designs for a niche and then coming up with a bunch of collections where when people visit the shop, they're only going to see very limited designs. You want to make sure that you're giving them something to feast their eyes on. Now, in terms of numbers, look, each collection that you can create, for example, on Redbubble, allows you to have about 50 designs to your collection. I myself would suggest shooting for 50 designs for each collection, so that when people are actually in that collection on your shop, they have something to scroll through. They have something to delve into. This way, they can realize that you are a serious professional in terms of what it is that you want to contribute. And in doing this, people will gain more confidence, more trust in you to want to revisit and hopefully open up their wallet and click the add to cart button and make a sale. If they come and visit your shop and it's very haphazard, if it's very lackluster, if it's very, very bare, then the chances of them sticking around is going to be futile, and they're going to jump and you're not going to land any sales, which can be extremely demotivating. So you really want to make sure that when you're creating your shop, okay, you are going to create a number of designs for each niche, if obviously your shop is a generalist store, to make sure that your customers have something to delve into. If it's just a niche related store and you want to create your sub niches for that particular niche, the same truth holds true over here too as well. You want to make sure that the sub niches that you're producing for that niche that you're into is going to give people something to look at, something to dwell over, something to enjoy looking at, and hopefully making the sale. So don't provide a shop that's sort of a skeletal base. Contribute designs to your shop, beef it up so that when people are visiting, they have something to look. Just think about it, when you go to a brick and mortar shop, maybe you need a new jacket, or you need a new sweater, or you need a new outfit, whether you're not, you're male or female. You want to be able to go into a shop and be able to see a number of items for you to consider. If you go in and you just see 1 sweater, 1 shirt, 1 pair of pants, and 1 pair of shoes, and maybe it's not even a color that fits you or whatnot, well, the chances of you staying to buy or even trying that on is going to be negligible, you know? So the same holds true with respect to your customers. When they're coming over, you've got to give them something to look at, something to enjoy going through, to browse through, and hopefully within the designs that you obviously offer, people are going to want to buy. Which then leads us to point number 2. You know, many people, when they open up a print-on-demand shop, particularly if they've watched a few, you know, videos on YouTube or whatnot, they automatically think that right out of the box, they're a graphic designer. And yes, there are aspects of graphic design which are relatively easy to get into, particularly if you're doing text-based designs or maybe just a text with a simple graphic or whatnot. In truth, it's not brain science to actually create these designs. But given the fact that the print-on-demand industry over the past number of years has become extremely saturated, there are tons and tons of sellers on all these platforms who are out there trying to gauge the attention of, you know, potential customers. The very basic primary type of, you know, elementary type of designs, more often than not, are not going to cut it. We would like to believe that that's going to be the case. We see videos of, you know, just put text designs and people are going to buy them. That is not going to be the case in 2022, 2023, and so on and so forth. We need to put a little bit more thought into the designs that we are offering to our potential customers, okay? Your designs need to stand out, be it through color, font selection, clip art, just the whole design nature of what it is that you're contributing has to stand out amongst the sea of designs that are out there. If you find that after uploading a number of designs to your shop that the crickets are louder than the cha-chings of emails stating that you've made a sale, well then perhaps maybe it's time to actually stop and take a hard look at what it is that you're doing. And if you feel that at that particular stage in your shop's development, your graphic designs may not be up to scratch compared to others who are selling on the same platform, well, maybe perhaps it is time to consider going on to platforms like Fiverr and Upwork and hiring a freelance graphic designer, you know, just to start contributing some designs that are maybe a little bit, you know, a next stage up in terms of competency, in terms of what it is that you can offer to your customers. And then perhaps in that process, as you're starting to get these new fresh designs from maybe somebody who's been in the graphic design industry for a little bit longer, or maybe has that creative, you know, bone in their elbow that allows them to come up with some really amazing creative designs that perhaps maybe you might not have been able to create yourself, either through competency or maybe because you just didn't have the right programs to do it. And again, this is not to put anybody down. Everybody has different competencies. Some are going to be good in one aspect, others are going to be good in another. You have to be cognizant enough to say, hey, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at that. And where you're not good at it, that's the time where you have to say, I need to find somebody who is to be able to help me. And when you get that, when you get these designs from these other freelancers, it's actually going to expose you to another way of designing, another way of seeing designs, another way of creating them. And that might actually be the catalyst to get you thinking, okay, well, I got these designs. I think I can emulate them. I think I can use these as motivation for me to take my graphic designs to the next level. And that could actually be the catalyst for you to improve. In the meantime, you're going to be getting these new designs from somebody else to be able to post on your shop. And maybe those might be, you know, the tickets to get people to stop and really like what it is that you're offering them now and actually buying, which then obviously is going to help the algorithm of the platform and start ranking your designs higher. So it is a bit of a snowball effect, okay? So we do need to be cognizant of this. You need to make sure that you are designing for the customer, not for yourself. Now, point number 3. Very often sellers start off with a lot of enthusiasm, motivation, excitement, which is great. I can already sense how many of you are smiling at the fact that this was probably you. Hey, that was me when I first started too. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Whenever you're starting something new, there's always a sense of motivation and enthusiasm and excitement. That's natural. And that's actually great because it really gets you going into it, you know? But after a few months of uploading and hoping to generate more sales, many hit a dreaded wall of desperation, particularly if you're not getting the sales that you were hoping for, okay? And it's at this stage in a seller's professional graphic design, print-on-demand business career, if you want to call it that, where, they can go one of two ways. They can either throw in the towel and say, you know what, it's just no longer worth the time or the effort to actually do this. I'm not making any sales. I feel like I'm wasting more time than I am in terms of generating income. And then there are those who actually stop and say, okay, I need to do a deep dive into what it is that I'm doing, what it is that I am contributing to my potential customer in order to see what it is that I can do to improve. Because the fact that I'm not making any sales, the fact that nobody's taking a look at my shop is clear indication that I'm not doing something correct.
All that time, never even knowing just how blind I've been.
Or what it is that I'm doing is maybe off the cuff. Maybe I need to pivot and go a different way. More often than not, many people just don't like to receive criticism. More people don't like to be critiqued. Everybody likes to feel that what it is that they're doing is the correct way of doing things. And the sad truth of it all is that it's not always the case. We have to be open to the idea that, when we're doing something, if it's not working, you need to be ready to change. Otherwise, if you're not ready to change, irrespective of what it is that you're doing in life, then you're going to get nowhere fast. So with respect to the print-on-demand industry, what should one do? Well, if you've been following my channel, many of you know that it's important to focus on, one, the niches that you are designing for, okay? Are the niches that you are designing for going to be appealing to a very broad number of potential customers? Or is it very selected? Is it very, very niche down to the point where, you're maybe marketing to a couple thousands as opposed to a couple million, okay? Remember, if you're niching too far down, the number of people out there who would actually be interested in what it is that you're designing, that pool is going to be a lot smaller. And the chances of them finding you is going to be really, really difficult. Whereas if you're choosing niches which are appealing to a broad range of potential customers, then the likelihood of your designs being discovered is going to be a lot better. Okay, again, yes, you're going to be competing against a lot more designs because a lot of people understandably are going to be designing for those niches, but that's where point 2 comes into play, where you have to make sure that your designs are standing out amongst the sea of all of the other designs. So we have to be cognizant again about what designs that we're creating, how we're creating them, and what niches that we are designing for. Now, another very important point that you really have to consider and take to heart is, are you using the appropriate keywords in your titles, tags, and descriptions, okay? I have been asked over the past number of months to review quite a number of shops. I review them on my shop, and I also review people privately. So again, if any of you is ever interested in wanting a private review, a one-on-one review of your shop, maybe perhaps you're not really comfortable in terms of having your shop being exposed to everybody on the channel, which is absolutely fine. I do private reviews. You can get in touch with me, DM me, or jump onto Instagram and obviously send me a message, and we can discuss further how I can help you too as well. And we can do a deep critique of your shop and take a look at what it is that you're doing correctly and what obviously needs to be improved. Now, generally speaking, again, you need to make sure that your tags and your titles and your descriptions are filled with the appropriate keywords pertaining to the niche that you're designing for. I can count so many times the number of shops that I visited, the number of designs that I have looked at, where either the title was really subservient, the tags were all over the place, many of which had absolutely nothing to do with the design, and most importantly, the fact that there was no description attached to the listing. Guys, we are leaving potential funds, potential money on the table when you don't focus your attention on these 3 things. And it's a wonder why some people say they're not getting any traction to their shop, why people are not visiting their shop or seeing their designs. These are the 3 aspects of your listing which you definitely have to put in so much attention into, so that people will be able, so that the algorithm will be able to utilize that information you put into your title, your tags, and your descriptions to show it to people. If you leave these aspects blank, or if you don't put the time and effort that's needed to make sure that they are top-notch, then your designs are not going to be seen. And if your designs are not going to be seen, people can't consider buying them, and you're not going to make any sales. So you definitely want to make sure that you are focusing your attention on that. Now, I have a few episodes on my channel, particularly with respect to descriptions and creating long tail keyword phrases that can definitely help take your listings up and rank them higher in the Redbubble search, in TeePublic, in any of the print-on-demand platforms that you utilize. Because once you learn for one particular platform, the concepts can be transfixed, they can be brought over and maybe just tweaked and modified a little bit for other platforms, given the setups that they have. But effectively, the same truths are held. You need to make sure that you're giving the algorithm of that particular platform enough information to be able to show your designs to the masses out there who are visiting that particular platform. If you're not, then the chances of you being successful on that particular platform is going to be negligible. Okay? Now, what is also important is that you are open to the idea of critiquing your own designs. Again, not everybody is open to the idea of having somebody coming in and critiquing their own designs. For some reason or another, a lot of people think that it's a critique of them. Guys, it's not a critique of you, okay? It's a critique of the design itself. Remember, when you are critiquing your designs, or when you're having somebody come in to critique your designs, it's a growing experience. You are seeing something from one perspective. Somebody coming in to critiquing your designs, be it a family member, a friend, a colleague, a stranger, they're giving you a perspective that perhaps maybe you wouldn't have considered when you were creating the design. And the more critiques that you get, the more focus your frame of thinking is going to be when you are creating future designs, because you need to make sure that you're keeping the customer at the forefront of your mindset when you are creating the designs. Remember, designing isn't about what you like. It's about creating something that people are going to like. And the best way to find out what people like is by having other people take a look at your designs, preferably before you upload them onto your respective shops. Because once you upload them onto your respective shops and they're out there, if they're not up to scratch, if they aren't going to have that wow factor, people who see them, if they see them, are not going to be entertained at all by the concept of clicking on them to see them further. And if they don't see them further, there's no chance of making a sale, and the likelihood of them visiting your shop again in the future is going to be very poor and negligible, because they're going to remember, I'm not going to bother taking a look at that shop because they had that design which wasn't really good, probably don't have anything worth taking a look at, and they're not going to come over to your shop. So you want to make sure that before you upload a design, ask a bunch of people to critique it. If you don't feel comfortable with a family member or whatnot, obviously do it with a member, I don't know, a colleague or a friend of yours, or a neighbor, or heck, even a stranger. Put it on your mobile phone and go out there and be nice and say, listen, can I bother you for a second? I just want to get your perspective on this. I've got this design. Would love to hear what your feedback is, what you think about it. And just get different perspectives, different pieces of advice, different, opinions. And that is going to help you to refine your train of thinking when you're creating designs. It's going to make you a better graphic designer. It's going to make your shop that much better. And in growing, in getting these critiques, your overall shop appearance is going to grow. It's going to improve. And if you would take a look at your shop from the moment you started, and then maybe 3, 6, 12, 24 months down the line, you're going to see that you've grown. Obviously, if you're putting these pieces of advice into practice, okay? And in doing so, your shop is going to improve. People who come to visit your shop are going to see that there's a certain sense of improvement, that there's a certain sense of professionality. They're going to want to click on your designs. They're going to want to entertain the possibility of buying them. And then, most importantly, if your designs resonate with them, and again, this is where the critique of your designs come into play. You want to make sure that your designs resonate with the customer. Does it satisfy a need or a problem? Does it evoke an emotion when they look at your design? If you manage to hammer onto those 2 points with respect to your design, then the possibility of them buying that design is going to increase 10 or 100-fold more so than if it didn't. So getting those critiques, getting out there, asking for people's opinions is going to be worth its weight in gold in, improving your shop, your graphic design skills, and hopefully in terms of making more sales. Now, the one thing that I want to close off with now, and again, I don't want this to be a very long video, okay? These 3 important points, I want you to definitely take these to heart. If you maybe missed out on something, go back to the beginning, take a look and listen to it a couple more times just to make sure that you get the full gist of what it is that I'm trying to pass on to you in terms of advice, okay? Don't get discouraged. Many have gone through what it is that you're feeling, what you're going through now, and it's a high bet, it's a guarantee that there will be many more in the future who are going to be experiencing these feelings of disgruntlement, demotivation, not being inspired to continue, and that's okay. What's important is that what you do in the here and now at this very moment with respect to your shop. Do you throw in the towel and have to start something all over from the beginning? And, into the possibility of you being in the same position 3, 6, 12 months down the line? Or do you take the route of saying, okay, I've got to take a deep look at my shop. I've got to see what it is that I am doing that is not allowing me to make sales, that is not allowing customers to stick around on my shop for a lot longer or for as long as I would hope for them to want to stay so that maybe they would find something and actually buy. If you go with, the second option as opposed to the first option, and you are really cognizant and really true to yourself, that you want to grow, that you want to learn, that you want to improve upon what it is that you're doing, okay, then your shop will grow. You will find a degree of success. Now, if you're looking for somebody to be able to do this for you, I'm very happy to obviously sit down digitally. We can have a one-on-one video chat together. We can discuss what it is that obviously is bothering you, what it is that maybe you're feeling is not working for you, and then perhaps maybe I can help you out with some advice and some guidance to take you on the right step to get your shop turning around. I'd love to use the years of experience that I have in the print-on-demand industry, and indeed with photography and design over the whole. I've been at this for, goodness me, I think since like 1990. So I do have a number of years under my belt in terms of design and whatnot. And I believe that I can help you. So obviously, send me a DM. We can discuss it further. Obviously, the service, unfortunately, is not free. I would love to be able to make it, free and avail. But obviously, as many of you know, I also have a family that I need to feed to as well. So obviously, this is sort of my side hustle. But with any business, one needs to make an investment. One needs to try and do what one needs to do in order to improve, so that obviously the small expenses that you make now is going to reap huge rewards, huge benefits down the road. So I certainly hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that if you are or have been in this situation of feeling disgruntled and wanting to throw in the towel, that you don't, that you take the advice that I've given in this particular episode, take it to heart, listen to it over again, and see what it is that you need to do. And obviously, if you feel that you want to get in touch with me so that we can discuss it further, please do so. But for today, that's all I've got. And as always, be safe, be well, be creative. Don't get discouraged. Bye for now. Hey, if you enjoyed this video and you want to find out more ways that you can take your print-on-demand business to the next level, why don't you check out one of these 2 episodes I have over here. And don't forget to subscribe. Catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.